I just called to say I love you. I just called to say how much I care. Yes, I do. I just called to say I love you. And I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Hi, I'm Father Tom Casey. It's great to be with you online today because we can't be with people face to face so easily during this time of coronavirus. That's a wonderful song by Stevie Wonder. He's a great musician, great songwriter, and that's his biggest selling song of all. I just called to say I love you. And the first verse, which by the way I didn't sing, I just sang the chorus there, but the first verse, he says, no New Year's Day to celebrate, no songs to sing, no. He gives a whole load of special occasions which are not the reason why he's calling to say I love you. And he says it's just an ordinary day. In other words, he's making the effort to tell someone he cares for them, he loves them, that they're important to him on an ordinary day. And as well as making the effort to get in touch with each other during this time of coronavirus, it's so important to tell each other we care about each other on ordinary days as well. I just called to say I love you. Well, we get phone calls, and sometimes we get unexpected phone calls. Imagine I got an unexpected phone call now. Let's say, let's imagine. Hello, who? Pope Francis? Is this? I mean, this is. Oh, it is Your Holiness. Oh, I'm sorry. I just thought this was. I thought this was a prank or a joke. But I mean, it is Tom Casey you're looking for. Oh, but I mean, how did you know I even existed? I mean, there's over 1 billion Catholics in the world, and I mean, who am I to? Well, imagine I got a phone call like that. I'd be absolutely flabbergasted. I'd be stunned. I'd feel quite privileged as well if the Pope was to call me. And, you know, at the same time, what strikes me is that God who's much bigger than the Pope, God who's not just the creator of the world, but the creator of the whole universe, God is trying to phone each of us each day to tell us he loves us. And he does this in so many different ways. He phones us through the people who care for us. He phones us through the events of our lives. He phones us through the beauty of nature, of a sunrise or a sunset that really takes our breath away. And often we're not here, we're somewhere else. There's a French poet from the 19th century has a great line. He says, real life is absent, or true life is absent. La vraie vie est absente. You know, this kind of sense that, oh, I'm missing out on what's really happening, because what's really happening is happening somewhere else. And meanwhile, I'm cocooned here, I'm isolated here, I'm socially distanced here, and I'm missing out. But no, real life is happening here and now, and so often we are somewhere else. There's a great story about a poor man. He's begging on the street, he's sitting on a wooden box, he's been begging for years, and one day a stranger comes by. And the stranger, he stretches out his cap in the same mechanical way he's always done, and he asks the stranger, have you any spare change, sir? And the stranger stops and he apologizes. He says, I'm sorry, I have no spare change, but can I just ask you a question? And the poor man says, sure, go ahead. He says, that wooden box you're sitting on, yes? What's in it? The poor man says, I don't think there's anything in it. I mean, I've been sitting on this old wooden box for years. So the stranger says, well, have a look in it. And anyway, he continues on his way, and the poor man continues to look for money. And then at the end of the day, as he's about to go away, he suddenly remembers the words of the stranger. And he says, oh, I might as well look inside the wooden box. So he opens the wooden box for the first time ever, and to his astonishment, inside there's a solid bar, 24 karat gold. Now, I think we're really like that poor man. We've been sitting on this treasure, and all the time we're somewhere else. You know, the saints like the Virgin Mary, they were attuned to God. I mean, this wonderful phrase, attuned. When a guitar is in tune, it's really in perfect harmony. It's at the perfect pitch. And they were so attuned to God that they heard God speaking to them. They heard God calling to say, I love you all the time, because they were in that space. So I'd just like to invite you today to try and enter that space of the here and the now, and instead of thinking that true life is somewhere else, true life is absent, to realize that true life is where you are in the here and now, and it's at this place that God is calling you to say, I love you. No April rain, no flowers bloom, no wedding Saturday within the month of June. But what it is something true, made up of these three words that I must say to you. I just call to say I love you. I just call to say how much I care. Yes, I do. I just call to say I love you, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Goodbye.